Okay, Madam Chair, it's 6 o'clock, so if you want, we can go ahead and get started.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Today is the 27th of April, 2022. This is the scheduled time and place for the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. I am Chairperson Weaver, and I now call the meeting to order. Christina, would you please call the roll?
Weaver,
Here.
Montoto,
Here.
Malloy,
Here.
Otter,
Here.
Maroney,
Here.
Kintai,
Here.
Koski, Pape. 6 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. Have all the commissioners had a chance to review the meeting minutes from the March 28th, 2022 meeting? Does anyone have any comments or changes to the minutes? Hearing none, I will now take a motion on the March 28th, 2022 minutes.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I move to approve the March 28th, 2022 minutes.
thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Montoto and a second by Commissioner Malloy. Please call the roll.
Otter,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Montoto,
Aye.
Weaver,
Aye.
Maroney,
Aye.
Kintai,
Aye.
all in favor, motion carries.
Great, thank you. We have 2 items possibly for the consent agenda tonight. The first one is DRH 22-00088 Randy Haverfield at 1715 North 14th Street. Does the commission have any questions on this matter? Great, is the applicant present? All right. Is he-
Madam Chair,
Yes, yes.
can you hear? This is Randy Haverfield. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Are you in agreement with the recommended conditions of approval?
Yes, went through them today and yes, we have no issues. The only item that might be of discussion is the lot coverage. And I'm not sure if Tim Ganley is in the audience there with you tonight or not. He was going to speak towards that as far as we're at 38% lot coverage. The recommendation was to go down to 35, and we were wondering if you would allow us to stay at 38.
So it sounds like we need to.
Madam
that
Chair, if they would like to discuss that, we should pull it from consent.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. We'll pull that from the consent agenda and you'll be the second item to be heard tonight.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. The second item or the other item that we have for the consent agenda is DRH 22-00096 Byron Falwell at 1304 East Bannock Street. Does the commission have any questions on this matter? Great. Is the applicant present?
Madam Chair, I am.
Okay, thank you. Are you in agreement with the recommended conditions of approval?
We are in agreement. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Staff, is there any written opposition to this matter?
Madam Chair, no, there was not.
Great. Is there anyone present tonight wishing to testify against this matter? Okay, seeing none, based on the representation of the applicant and lack of opposition, item DRH 22-00096 Byron Falwell will be placed on the consent agenda. I move that the consent agenda and all items on the consent agenda be approved subject to all the findings and conclusions and conditions of approval agreed upon for each application. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Oh,
Either one. Second by Commissioner Maroney. Christina, will you please call the roll?
Otter,
aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Montoto,
Aye.
Weaver,
Aye.
Maroney,
Aye.
Kintai,
Aye.
all in favor, motion carries.
Great, thank you. We'll now move on to the remaining items on our agenda. The first item to be heard is DRH 22-00086 Lorraine Fisher at 811 East McKinley Street. Staff, can you please have the report?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. So the applicant has requested a certificate of appropriateness to relocate an existing non-contributing single-family structure from a lot in the East End Historic District at 811 East McKinley Street. The location of the property is shown here and is near the intersection of Strawn, Washington, and McKinley, form kind of a unique intersection there in the area. So on February 10th, 2022, we were made aware that the applicant had commenced moving the building. There was a code enforcement case opened. Our building department sent inspectors out to find out what was going on. It was determined that the home was being moved without a certificate of appropriateness approval and without construction permits. And immediately a stop work order was placed on the property until the applicant could go through the correct process, come before you, obtain a certificate of appropriateness for the removal of the house from the property. Some photos of the work that was in progress when the stop work order was placed. A portion of the home had been removed and prepared for transport. It's my understanding it would be transported to a location outside of the city of Boise as a result of a sale with another party. So the applicant submitted the request for the certificate of appropriateness to remove the house from the property. As referenced in the staff report, we feel they do meet 3 of the 5 required findings for demolition. What they are lacking is a detailed remediation plan, and that's really the intent of the ordinance that City Council put in place, about 6 months ago regarding premature work in the historic districts. There is a requirement that the site be returned to its original condition, and that conditions are placed on it, brought to the Historic Preservation Commission for approval to do that. This is a little different situation if it was something where someone removed a portion of a home that was intended to remain on the lot or perform some illegal work and illegal addition. Conditions would be largely based around how to return that home to its original condition. Where the applicant is proposing to remove the home from the property, if that certificate of appropriateness is approved by this commission, the focus of the remediation will really be returning the lot to a satisfactory condition until a new proposal, at such time a new home is constructed on the property. The applicant didn't submit specific plans in regards to that, so we have recommended a condition of approval that any proposed fencing, landscaping shall be shown on a detailed remediation plan. There shall be dust and weed mitigation measures put in place in the interim before this property is developed, and that any utilities, left on site are properly secured and mitigated. We have required that the applicant come back to the Historic Preservation Commission for approval of that plan. If it's the commission's pleasure, that could certainly be approved by staff. So my recommendation, because it needs to come back before this board, would be to check in with the applicant, see what timing of preparation of said plan looks like. If it's something that they can prepare very quickly, then we could defer this item to the next month's meeting. That would eliminate the need for new public noticing, a new sign placed on the property, and you could take a look at that remediation plan at next month's meeting, or delegate that responsibility to staff, whichever you felt was appropriate. So with that, I would stand for any questions, and I believe the applicant is here for questions and a presentation as well.
Great. Are there any questions for staff?
Madam Chair, I do not have a commission. I just want to note on the record, I will be recusing myself from this item.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question for staff. Josh, how do you determine that it's okay to move the house versus demolition? Like, what's the different requirements that we need to think about?
Madam Chair, Commission Member Otter. So the ordinance, when we take a look at the demolition findings, that section of ordinance is actually titled demolition or relocation. It's treating demolition and relocation essentially the same in terms of meeting 3 of the 5 findings.
Good. question. Any other questions?
I have a question, Josh. Do they have plans available yet for what they're proposing to build?
Madam Chair, Commission Member Malloy, no, not that I have seen. Maybe you could ask the applicant if they are anticipating submitting those, but nothing has been submitted to the city at this point.
Thank you. I guess before we have the applicant come up, I would like to ask the commission if we would, so we can ask them their timing, if we would like to see that mitigation plan, or if we would feel more comfortable having staff review it.
I personally think we should see that mitigation plan.
I agree.
Thank you. Okay, good. All right, is the applicant present? You can come forward and state your name and address, please, for the record, and then you'll have 20 minutes. 20 minutes, up to 20 minutes.
My name is Lorraine Fisher, and my address is 1216 East Stormy Drive in Meridian.
Great,
Do you have
thank
any
you.
questions? What questions do you
Well,
have?
we'll let you have time to
Okay.
speak to the issue, but before you do that, I guess, so that as Josh was saying, we would have to, come back again and have another notice to look at the plan for mitigation. Do you know what the timing of that is by chance?
It could be fairly quickly. It could be within the next couple of days because I pretty much know what's going to be happening once the house is gone.
Mhm.
The property owner has plans to build another house there, but he doesn't have them all dialed in and put in for permits yet.
Mhm. So would it be, well, so Josh, what you were saying is if we waited till next month to look at the plan and we did this whole hearing now, you'd have to do another notice for next month for the same property to look at the plan for mitigation.
Madam Chair, it'd just be more expedient if you deferred this item tonight to next month's meeting. And we
Okay.
can look at the plan, approve it that
Mhm.
night. If we waited and we had to provide notice and all of those things, it could be another month out. So I certainly, if the applicant sounds like they're willing,
Okay.
I would put this on, defer this to next month's agenda.
Oh,
So we can get
okay.
it done.
Would you
If
be
you'd like
willing
to.
to do that?
Sure.
Okay, great.
The sooner that we get it done, the sooner we'll get it off that property and have that property cleared and
Right.
look right and cleaned up.
Okay, great. Well, then do we need to vote to defer it?
Madam Chair, that would be after the applicant's testimony, any public testimony, you do
Okay.
need to open it to a public, and then the
Okay.
commission can take action just like you would on a normal item.
Okay, so we're going to do the whole part of the hearing now. Okay, great. Okay, so with that being said, you still have 20 minutes to speak to the issue, and then we will hear public testimony.
Okay, I own a company that we reclaim and resell reusable building materials from property set for demo. When I came across this project, they were going to sell all the internal things in the house, and I suggested they sell the whole house and have it moved because it was the perfect house for being moved. And the gentleman that purchased it did, and he went ahead and got a mover to move it. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't know he had to have permits, and I didn't know he had to have permits either. I thought he was taking care of that end. He thought I was taking care of that end, and nobody was taking care of it. So then when this came about, everything froze, and we're just kind of waiting on you guys to make all the decisions on when we can get it out of there.
Okay, great. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. You'll have a chance to come up for rebuttal at the end. Is the registered neighborhood association here to testify? Please come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Grisham. I live at 1204 East State Street, Boise 83712. And I am just grateful you guys are deferring this until next month so that we can see the plans for the new thing, and all of it is being handled all at once. So thank you very much.
Great,
Have a good evening.
thank you. We have 3 people signed up today to testify. The first person is David Thomas. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, my name is David Thomas. My wife and I reside at 917 East Washington Street. We've lived in the East End for more than 25 years. I'm a licensed architect and a former member of the Historic Preservation Commission from 2004 to 2007. Thanks for taking my testimony. We were pretty astonished that this was even being considered tonight because clearly the package is not detailed, and I applaud your move to wait for the remediation plan. It is a little bit unusual that the remediation plan isn't there, and then also the application lacks any proposed replacement of the home, which obviously we in the neighborhood association would like to see. And in short, the applicant addressed a number of my comments, so I'm kind of ad-libbing here a little bit, but I do think that the loss of this home does affect the quality of the district, even though it's a non-contributing home. Most of the people in the neighborhood are very tired of people taking the beg for forgiveness approach, and we'd really like to see a little bit more teeth in the commission's approach to these kind of things where nobody gets an approval for anything, and then by the time we get there, very little can be done to salvage the situation. So I'll let go of the rest of my time. Thanks for your night.
Great. Thank you. Were there any questions for the firm?
Okay.
Nope. Great, thank you. The next person that we have signed up is, I think, Mary Smith. Please come forward and state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Mary Hall Smith. I live at 818 East State Street, and I've lived there for over 40 years. And I want to commend you for saying what you said about the fact that people are going in and they are making changes to our historic district without really any care at all about people who live there and the quality of the neighborhood and preserving that. And I find it quite bold that the owners of this home, who are in the real estate business, didn't know that they were moving a home from an historic area. I'm shocked by that. And that's why I'm here today, to make sure my voice and the neighborhood's voice is really shared. It's wrong. And they are truly getting away with it. They put up a wrought iron fence, never asked for permission. They never did that also prior to this event. So I think that they should be held accountable. And if they are going to build a home, and I would say there probably are, that it really fits. It really fits the neighborhood. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your good work.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Mary? Okay, thank you. The next person is Tanner Layton. Did I get that right? Yes. Great. Thank you. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Tanner Layton. I'm going to say 811 East McKinley. However, we are currently not residing there. Boise, Idaho, 83712. We are currently residing 523 West Chrisfield Drive, Meridian, Idaho, 83646. Madam Chair, Commissioners, I would like to first say that my apologies. We did not know that this was the correct process about going about things. This was actually the first home that my wife and I purchased. We are from this greater Treasure Valley. I'm born and raised from Meridian. And as my neighbor, Mrs. Mary Hall Smith, spoke, I do come from a real estate background family. However, we did not know of the proper steps to be taking. As the applicant mentioned earlier, we were getting ready to sell the interior fixtures of the home, such as washer, dryer, hot water heater, because I would like to speak about the home for a little while. It sat vacant for 10 years. It is also a non-contributing home. And I would like to also state that I reached out to former, I forgot what his title is, I do apologize, but Ted Venegas for our iron fencing, and that is allowed in the Historic Preservation Society. We do pride ourselves on making sure that we go about things the right way. So I will like to say, I apologize for dropping the ball on that end. We did have an employee run this for us. That employee is no longer with us. However, I take responsibility as my home and my personal residence. Our plan is to have a family home. My wife and I are very fortunate that we just welcomed home our first child 3 months ago. And so because of that, we look forward to growing our family in this city. I grew up in Meridian. My father built many homes up in the East End and up in the hills. I've looked forward to living and calling this neighborhood home, and we worked really hard to be able to afford this. And I think individuals who have walked by our home can see the value that we added. We've made sure to update accordingly, but we also kept the home intact. And because of that, we wanted to be able to gift our first home to someone that could also use it, because we've been very fortunate that we are going to be able to build, with the council's consent, our family home on this lot. I would also like to note one of your guys' concerns is plans. We have our architect already reached out to the East End Neighborhood Society. They informed us that no, first we submit to the city and then we move forward. Our original plan was to demo it. That's where we got the opportunity with the applicant's company to be able to try and repurpose the home. So that is how we went about it. I again apologize for missing the steps. We very much so do care about this community. We very much so do care about the historic aspect of it. And that is why my wife and I chose that to be our first home and also our family home, Lord willing, with the council's consent when we come back next month. That concludes my testimony. I will stand for any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Tanner?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Were you were living in this home
Yes, ma'am.
before, for how long?
Well, we were over a year. So we purchased it and then we couldn't live in it when we purchased it. We did a 6-month remodel. That what we ended up doing was we purchased it from the family that owned it. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to call them friends. And that's where we, even before we started on this process, also reached out to Ted, and Ted recommended that we use Timber and Love. Timber and Love was the individuals that then came and spoke to the city, because we were just going to do a remodel since our home is non-contributing in the historic preservation. And then that's when they said, well, would you guys be open to potentially building new? And that is how we then got to there. We did have to cut ties with that company as of late due to just some differences in opinion over design. But I do believe that you guys will like our design. Our design is something that I take pride in having it fit into the city and into the historic society, because I also do, being in real estate, want to make sure that great places like the very first developed subdivision in the city of Boise stays that way.
So having lived in the home, and it sounds like you've worked with historic preservation, but you didn't understand the process of having to move a home, or?
I've never moved a home before, and I did not know that. And that's where we were also informed by Josh that this was put in place in January of this year. And that's where we had the Miss Fisher's company with the reclaimed. We got that opportunity, and I am not trying to say anything incorrect, but we did have a contract in place that states all permits, all fees will be that responsibility of the buyer. And so that is where I step back, because we have that contract in place that does state that. And I would be happy to provide that as well to the council.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
When are you planning on submitting your plans? Do you have a
Next month.
next month? Okay.
Yep.
Great. Thank
We
you.
just needed to make a couple more updates and everything. And that's where our architect that we have, he is familiar with historic guidelines and design recommendations.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Nope. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the applicant, you have 5 minutes for rebuttal if you would like to come back up here. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. I will now close the public portion of the hearing and consider a motion. So at this point, Josh, do we just do a motion to defer it, or do we?
Madam Chair, if that's the commission's pleasure, then yes, a motion to defer to next month with
Mhm.
specific direction to come back with those remediation plans.
Okay, and I guess another question I have, if they're about to submit their plans for a new structure on the site, what is the cutoff that they could submit it to, that we hear that too for the next hearing?
That cutoff was on Monday.
Oh, it was,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
So then, no matter what, there's gonna have to be another hearing after that.
That's
hearing.
correct.
Okay. Okay. I would
I
consider,
can make a motion, I guess. I move to defer DRH 22-00086 to next month's hearing.
okay, you have a motion by Commissioner Otter. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Maroney. Guess, is there any discussion? Okay, Christina, can you please call the roll?
Otter,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Montoto,
Abstained.
Weaver,
Aye.
Maroney,
Aye.
Kintai,
Aye.
five in favor, one recused. Motion carries.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, our next item on the agenda will be item DRH 22-00088, Randy Haverfield. Can we please have the staff report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The applicant has submitted an application to remove an existing non-contributing home and detached garage and construct a new residence on property in the North End Historic District on North 14th Street, near the intersection of Limp and 14th. You may recall that this application was before you a few months ago with a home that was found to be inappropriately large for the surrounding area. The applicant has returned with revised plans. Here's the existing non-contributing home that would be removed. So the applicant has returned with revised plans for a single-story home with basement and detached garage. As mentioned by the applicant during the consent agenda, they are proposing a lot coverage of 38% in their application. We did include a condition of approval that be removed or be reduced down to 35%, and then some conditions of approval regarding materials on the facade of the home. Here are the elevations of the structure. And then a rendered perspective. So staff, I think the applicant is in agreement with certainly the material changes. It sounds like they want to talk about that lot coverage to remain at the 38 instead of the 35 proposed by staff. Beyond that, we recommended conditions with approval, and I'd stand for any questions.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, I have one question. How often do we allow people to go over lot sizes of 35%?
Madam Chair, Commission Member Otter, it would be quite unusual, I would say, in my short experience, for this commission to approve a lot coverage on new construction over 35%.
Any other questions? Okay, you are welcome to come up. And you'll have 20 minutes to testify, and you'll just need to state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Tim Ganley. My address is 412 East Hawaii Avenue, Nampa, Idaho, 83686. Thank you for having us here tonight and being here. I'd like to first start off by saying I'm a Boise native. I was actually raised in the North End. My heart is in the North End. I went to North Junior High, Boise State. It was a really cool experience as a young child, being exposed to the North End, as you all appreciated as well. I have very, very fond memories of going to North, dances as a kid and going to goodies afterwards. Really great. Experiencing Boise High and everything it had to offer. Being able to go off campus for lunch and really experience not only the North End, but downtown Boise as well. It gives me a lot of inspiration to do this project. This is the second time we're back in front of y'all. It's really my hope that we can provide a really beautiful home to fit a comfortable, really beautiful family that will have children that can have that same experience that I did growing up. We feel the 38% lot coverage is comfortable for the family that we'd like to be in there. In section 5.4, orientation lot coverage, 5.44, maintaining proportional lot coverage is found on the neighboring property on the same block. 1711 is directly next to us and is about a 40% lot coverage. So we would ask for leniency for that 38 just to conform to that section 5.4 and 5.44. Again, thank you for your time. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Madam Chair, I have one.
Yes.
So if we do not approve this 3% increase to the property, where would you cut that 3% from in the design?
The 3% would come off two parts, the garage, and then we would probably make a couple of the rooms smaller.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. You'll have 5 minutes at the end for rebuttal.
Thank you.
Is the Registered Neighborhood Association here to testify? Great. Kate, go ahead and state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Thanks, Madam Chair. This is Kate Henwood, 1116 North 12th Street. Yeah, we really appreciate that the applicant heard the feedback and made a lot of changes. We're really happy with the new design. I think we would also like to see them get that lot coverage down to the 35%, but beyond that, we just want to recommend the usual permeable paving and down shielded exterior lighting, but otherwise we are good with the design.
Okay, thank you very much. We don't have anyone signed up for this particular case, but is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify? Okay. You have 5 minutes to come back up for rebuttal if you would like.
I think I'm good. I just appreciate your guys' time.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I will go ahead and close the public portion of the hearing and consider a motion or discussion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to discuss.
Yes, Commissioner Malloy, go right ahead.
So I really appreciate where the design has gone since the last iteration, which we saw was really overwhelming the entire neighborhood in that block. And we've allowed, to your question, Commissioner Otter, we have allowed it in the past for good reason, I guess. Like I know the passive house on Fifth, we allowed it to go over to meet those energy efficiency requirements and things like that. And I actually would be fine with this one being at 38% because they have really changed the design so much that I don't know. It doesn't really bug me that it's slightly over.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
If I may. This is tricky and it's hard because we did recently adopt the 5% increase to accommodate garages and main level bedrooms. And I think as a commission, we anticipated we were going to see just a continual gradual increase in this. And it's a hard no from me. That 3% that 35% is really meant to maintain open space, which is what makes our historic districts so special. Smaller homes on lots where they have beautiful backyards and gardens, and it's what makes people want to live there. And so I will not be, or I suppose rather I would vote for a condition to maintain that 35% lot coverage and approve this application.
Great.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just want to echo Commissioner Montoto. I feel like generally when we make these accommodations, it's for homes that are, already at that, and then it's not starting from scratch. I feel like if you're starting from scratch, it's pretty easy to meet the requirement. And so I'd like to keep it at 35%.
Great, thank you. Any other comments, or would anyone like to make a motion?
I would make a motion. I move to approve DRH 22-00088 with the condition of approval to maintain 35% lot coverage.
I'll second.
Thank you. Christina, can you please call the roll?
Otter,
Aye.
Malloy,
No.
Montoto,
Aye.
Weaver,
Aye.
Maroni,
Aye.
Kintai,
Aye.
5 in favor, 1 opposed, motion carries.
Great, thank you. Okay, our next item on the agenda is DRH 22-00097, Aaron Sorensen at 802 West Brumbach Street. Staff, can we please have the report?
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Oh, I'll
Yeah,
go in.
yeah, you can,
Yeah.
you'll be able to come up in just 1 second.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, thank you. So the applicant before you tonight is here to propose a second-story addition on an existing single-family residence on property in R1CH zone. It is in the North End Historic District, and it is a contributing structure. The property is a corner lot located at the northwest corner of Brumbach and 8th Street. A photo of the existing home when viewed from Brumbach, and then a view of the home from 8th Street. So the applicant has proposed to maintain the existing footprint and construct, probably this is the best view, construct an addition onto the rear of the home over a portion of the sloping gabled roof, and then a small single-story portion of the home at the rear. That, when viewed from the north elevation, which would be the alley, you can see that addition extending up into the roof line. You can see that the east-west roof is also modified in the proposal to kind of more symmetrically fill that roof out. If you remember from the front elevation of the home, that steeply sloped pitch on the left would be filled in to match the clipped gable appearance that exists on the east side of the home. As detailed in the staff report, the residential guidelines do contain language about additions overwhelming the massing of existing homes, changing the historic character of the home as well. Due to that, we have recommended denial of the proposal. We feel that it significantly alters the massing of the structure and is not appropriate in the historic district. With that, I would stand for any questions, and the applicant is here with the presentation as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Okay, great. We know the applicant's here, so come on up and please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 20 minutes.
Great. Madam Chair, my name is Erin Sorensen. My address is 299 West Moore Street, Boise, Idaho, 83702. I would like to invite my associate, Anna Marie Vargas, up to give the majority of the presentation, and I will be here for questions if they exist.
Okay, great. Thank you. You just need to state your name and address for the record, and you'll be able to share the 20 minutes.
Okay, my name is Anna Marie Vargas. My address is 299 West Moore Street, Boise, Idaho.
Thank you.
So our clients currently run a childcare preschool facility out of their live work unit here in the North End. During and after the COVID-19 pandemic, these types of businesses were definitely adversely affected, as we all can imagine. Many were forced to close their doors, but one way that our clients were able to keep things open was through moving into the unit and creating a live work space where they live upstairs in a non-conforming duplex space, and then downstairs being their business. Upstairs only has one bedroom. Downstairs, the other bedroom is currently used as an office, and the clients have two young daughters who just recently graduated high school. And so as you can imagine, they're a little cramped up there. So that's why we have been working with them to develop a plan to remodel the space to make it more usable for the family. We would like to restore the home to its original state as a single family home. Currently, the non-conforming duplex has a very unsafe staircase leading up to the first floor. And that stairway can be accessed from the 8th Street side and from inside the home as well. And so we would be proposing a much safer interior staircase in the back of the living room of the home. And so that is why we would be expanding the roof line. And then this remodel would also bring a lot of life safety improvements as well, with updated egress windows, updated smoke and carbon, and things that will allow this structure to continue to survive in the North End for the next 100 years. Here you can see our site plan. As we said, the existing footprint of the home will not be altered. We've minimized visual impact to both street side facing of the homes while also being able to achieve the addition. We've worked with the city during this phase, specifically Nathan Halam. He and Josh Wilson, they were able to give us feedback on our designs, and we came in and talked to them and asked them what their opinions were. From here, you could see the staircase on the interior of the home, and this is a view from the back side of the home that currently faces the side lot of another property. And the addition would only be adding about 137 square feet, which is about the size of a standard residential bathroom. So not particularly large addition. And we would be going up over the existing footprint of another previous addition, which is on just a single story addition. And remodel areas upstairs, along with the addition, would receive new paint, trim, flooring, an added bathroom. And currently there's a kitchenette upstairs, and that would be reduced to only be a wet bar. So again, part of restoring the home to the single family that it once was. The first floor of the home, again, will remain largely unchanged. You can see the existing structure. It has that staircase kind of tucked up into a closet in the middle of the home between the kitchen and the living room. It is extremely steep and definitely not up to code. And so part of the new proposed staircase would be a lot safer for the applicants and for any family that would occupy it afterwards. And that's something that we're particularly excited about. And then the current staircase would be removed and could be turned into a storage closet. On the second floor, this is where the largest changes would be made. The back bedroom is currently within that non-conforming space. We believe this home was once, the attic was converted essentially to add more living space than what did exist up there. And so that we believe that's why the back bedroom is has such a dramatic slant on the ceiling, and why you can't really stand up in the bedroom. And our applicants, our clients currently hit their head when they stand up in the mornings. And so by extending the roof, and we would be mirroring the historic front side of the house. So kind of adding some symmetrical feeling there. And then within that addition that would be going over the single story previous addition, that's where we would be able to fit in the primary suite and the bathroom, all of which being within the 137 square feet. And here you could see part of something that's really important to us with this project is anything that we're adding on would be the historic architectural details. We want to be sure to carry those over throughout the exterior of the house. And so these two are the original. This is the Brumbach Street side and the 8th Street side with the scallop and the decorative trim. And we would be carrying those over onto the addition on the side facing the alley, as well as on the back, even though on the back faces the neighbor's side lot. But we want to make sure that we're carrying those throughout. And the clipped gable as well that's on the 8th Street side would be mirrored on the back. And there is a window on the first floor that we intend to preserve with this design, even with the staircase being added. The clients are interested in a more modern kind of floating staircase look. And so by doing that, we would be able to preserve the window. Alternative would be to block the window up or put a blackout shade on it. But our intention is to preserve the window and keep that light coming in and not affect the historic brickwork on the first floor. On the south facade, the addition of the staircase, again, here you could see how it would be altering the roof line. But this would adjust or allow for 3 new windows on that west side, which again faces the neighbor's side lot. And these would be egress windows. And so again, a very big life safety update for the residents. And then you can see up at the top how we would be reflecting the historic architectural details. And that's something that's really important to us, is making sure that we carry those through and reflect the home's historic Queen Anne classification, as it is a contributing home. So here you could see the south exterior elevations and how that would impact the roof line. And here we've got the east exterior elevation and the north, and this would be viewed from the alley. And then the west viewed from the neighbor's side lot. Again, showing those historical details running through. And we would also on this portion of the addition roof line be adding a smaller clipped gable as well. A little bit about ethos and why this project is so important to us. We love our historic preservation projects because we love preserving the history of Boise, especially the North End. A lot of us have grown up in the Valley. I think all of us have, actually. And so keeping these homes functional in a way that will allow them to continue to be lived in for generations to come, and make sure that they're not one of these homes that people are going to want to, tear down within a decade. We want to preserve these homes as much as possible. So attention to detail and a special focus on preserving them while also making them livable is really important to us. This is from one of our other projects in the North End. We replicated some exterior molding on the historic windows for some new added windows and brought all the windows up to match. This was another home that had, I think it was 2 or 3 additions, and none of them matched each other. And so part of that, part of our ethos of returning the home to its historic roots was bringing everything to match and making it all look historic and helping the home to fit in better with the neighborhood. And then here within that same project, also in the North End, we've got the original front door that we were able to restore with modern locks, and then some interior trim where we were able to replicate the existing historic trim on the inside and carry that out throughout the rest of the house in those non-conforming additions that had been completed over the years. And so that was really important to the clients and something that we were really happy to do for them. In summary, we were able to develop this design with a lot of back and forth and recommendations from the historic plan reviewer. The clients worked within the constraints of the historic district to maintain the historic character of the home and still achieve the desired results of their project with making it livable. And that's something we're really happy to have accomplished with this design. And we do believe that the 137 square foot addition preserves the historic character of the building and also keeps it within the existing footprint of the home. And that's it.
Great. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. Do you know at what point it became a duplex?
We don't.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I have another question. You probably don't know this unless maybe you looked at the Sanborn maps. Do you know when the front porch was removed?
The front porch meaning on the Brumback side?
Well, I think most Queen Anne's would have had a pretty distinctive front porch. And this one sort of lacks that.
Yeah,
distinguishing feature.
Yeah, we noticed that, and that was, we thought that was kind of funny, actually, that this home was classified as a Queen Anne. as far back, the city records, I think they have a photo of the house in 92 when the historic survey was done, and it didn't have a porch then either. We think that the home might have been classified as a Queen Anne just because of the scalloped trim. And so we don't know if it ever had a front porch, especially because the house footprint is very, square on those two lot sides, and definitely doesn't have a lot of those Queen Anne features like the rounded or the spires or the architectural details like that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was very good. You'll have time for rebuttal in a few minutes here. It's the Registered Neighborhood Association here. Okay, Kate, please state your name and address for the record.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Kate Henwood, 1116 North 12th Street. A quick note on the photo in the survey. I believe the photo is actually the east elevation from the 8th Street side. So I don't know that that is a reliable indication of porch presence or not porch presence at that time, but that's maybe neither here nor there. Just wanted to mention it. Yeah, so we have traded a few notes back and forth with Ethos. So I'll just reiterate the feedback that we shared with them. They obviously do beautiful work, and clearly there has been a lot of attention to detail in their design, which is very much appreciated. But just at the end of the day, this is going to be a major change to that roof line, and we just really are concerned that it would jeopardize the home's contributing status if we were to approve this change. So we do support staff's recommendation of denial. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I don't think we have anyone signed up to testify. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to testify? Hearing none. Okay, you have 5 minutes to come back up and for rebuttal if you would like to.
Madam Chair, if I may, I did want to reiterate that the design that we have presented today is actually a revision of our first submittal to the city, or at least our pre-application, where we did more reflect the roof line of the original project. And so we did modify that, mirroring the clipped gable in for our submittal based off of the city's recommendation to us at the time. And working with the North End Neighborhood Association, their comments were in conflict with that, but we received their comments after we did submit the application. So we're willing to work with folks on the design if we need to minimize the roof to get this project through. Our client has been very flexible through this whole entire process, and they've really scaled back the project from their original expectations, and are willing to do whatever it takes, so to speak, to get this through. We're willing to work with folks to refine the design to make it work.
Thank you for that. That's very appreciated. I guess, does anyone have any last minute comments for the applicant?
One question for the applicant. If you didn't change the roof line, where would you get the additional space for your clients?
If I may, I'll let you take that one.
Currently, we've got the roof line the way that we do so that we could put that the new staircase in. The best way that I could see for us, because we have talked about this, to reduce that roof line would be to either shift the stairs over or try to work within the existing location of the stairs. Again, those stairs are very unsafe, and so we would have to cut into the interior living space if we wanted to update them and bring that life safety change. And then
Which is a load bearing.
Yeah, which is also a load bearing wall. We have also explored putting the stairs in that existing 1-story previous addition. That would still have to go up, and it would go up a story there. So those are our options for where we could put the stairs.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I have another question. Could you lower the height of the addition by a couple feet?
Do you refer to on the Brumback Street side, or the part of the addition that would face the alley?
Let's see. I'm looking at the east elevation, so that the one that comes out, to lower that part of it.
Oh, so the part on the right.
Yes.
Yeah, we could lower that. We had previously looked at, I believe it's called a shed roof, where it just kind of comes out at a slant. We thought that by doing the roof line this way, we would be able to incorporate more of the historic scallops and the trim and the cutback and things like that, but we'd definitely be open to that.
Could you do it, could you lower it and then just have a side gable without the clip?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that would be better. I mean, the standards, we don't want the addition to totally blend in with the historic building. That's one of the standards. We don't want to create a false sense of history. And we do that by differentiating by either setting things back, lowering heights, changing materials. So like you said, the scalloped, I'd actually recommend probably not putting scallop in that dormer, just so that you can tell the difference between the old and the new. I think if you lowered that and you kept it with a side gable, it almost meet the standards for rehabilitation. So if that's something you're open to, I don't know if anybody else would be open to conditioning this project to get it through.
I suppose, I don't know. I would be open to that.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll now close the public portion of the hearing and consider a motion or discussion.
I guess I'd say a discussion maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not totally opposed to the plan that they have presented, in that they've worked really hard to get this to work and they're not adding that much space. And I understand what Commissioner Malloy is saying about maybe lowering it a little bit and differentiating it. But I also feel like, I don't know if that's going to give them the headroom that they need on those stairs. Maybe it is, but I'm not opposed to the current proposal as presented.
Madam Chair, I am almost speechless with this design. I think it was so well done. And it is such a tricky situation to make all of the changes that you're making to such a bizarre footprint, and doing it in such a tasteful way where you're truly only adding 137 square feet. I mean, that is like unheard of. I would be really open to conditioning that east elevation as mentioned by Commissioner Malloy. And I would approve that.
Thank you. I guess I would like to add that I would agree with that. And I think that this house has had other additions put on it, which have made it hard to work with. Plus it's on a corner lot that is always hard to work with. And I think there has been a lot of thought in this design, and I would be really interested to see if we could just alter it just a little bit, as you suggested, to make it so that it didn't replicate the history of the house so much, but still is functional. And I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but I would like to have that happen. And I guess the question would be, if we did that as a condition, would we want to see that again, or would we be okay with staff reviewing it and approving it at that level?
I would personally be okay with staff reviewing it at that point.
Same.
Great. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I can do that. So I move to approve DRH 22-0097 based on the following conditions of approval. One is that we lower the height of the addition by, is a foot good? Can you guys lower it a foot? 1 foot. And that we differentiate the materials from the historic materials in the gable. And that we also have a full side gable and not a clipped gable on that section.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Did you get who that was? Commissioner Malloy and Commissioner Montoto.
Okay.
Great. Can you call the roll, please?
Alder,
Aye.
Malloy,
Hi.
Montoto,
Aye.
Weaver,
Aye.
Maroney,
Aye.
Kintai,
Aye.
all in favor, motion carries.
Great, thank you very much. The last item we have on our agenda today is DRH 22-00120, David Ellis at 1300 West Rose Park Circle. Staff, can we please have the report?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. The applicant before you tonight has proposed to construct a new front porch and rear patio on an existing single-family residence in the North End Historic District, and it is a contributing property. It's located in Rose Park Circle, east of 4th Street, near the intersection of Pueblo. And it's an unusually shaped, narrow and deep lot. So the existing home is a contributing minimalist traditional style home with a deteriorating front porch cover and concrete steps. So the applicant has proposed to replace the front porch with a new larger front porch, wood construction, and then a rear patio on the home as well. A perspective drawing shows the front porch is widened and deepened with those wood steps and the gabled covering. A front elevation of the home shows that increase in width and that front gable. Rear elevation would also add a gable and that rear patio space that is not a character defining facade and not readily visible from the street. So staff did recommend approval of the application with a condition to reduce the size of the front porch. So the guidelines recommend that porches should be replaced or repaired in similar massing and materials to existing. And that proposed front porch is a pretty significant departure from the massing on the front of the home. So we would look to this commission for some guidance to the applicant about how much that size should be reduced to be appropriate. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
Madam Chair, I have a question. Josh, if we dictate the size, would the staff review it again before it?
Yes, Madam Chair, Commission Member Malloy, if you dictate a specific size for that patio, we do look at that and confirm it complies with all conditions before building permit is issued. So yeah, if it was a very specific size, then we could easily review that right before building permits.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Is the applicant present? Oh, okay. Go ahead and come forward and state your name and address for the record, please. And you have 20 minutes.
Madam Chair, Commission, thank you. My name is Seth Parks, reside at 5557 East Stage Line Drive in Boise, 83716. I'm the project manager for the general contractor applying for the proposed porch. The applicant or the homeowner is a is retired military, and he was discharged from injury in the line of duty. He lost the use of most of his eyesight. He has a lot of periphery eyesight. And the main reason, I mean, besides the deteriorating facade and the safety issues of the steps, is, the house has been in the family for quite some time, and they just really kind of want to update it. And they think that, and we think aesthetically, it would really add to the neighborhood and just the aesthetics of the home. There is a very similar home 3 houses down on Pueblo Street. We sent pictures in to Mr. Wilson, I believe. And it's not quite as large as what we're proposing, but it has the same look and feel. And so we would be open to reducing the size of it. It's just really for safety and lifestyle of the homeowner. And so other than that, I would stand for any questions if there are any.
Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Is the Registered Neighborhood Association here to testify? Okay, Kate, go ahead. Okay. All right, Kate, are you if you're there? Go ahead and state your name. Please.
Sorry. Thanks, Madam Chair. Kate Henwood, 1116 North 12th Street. We were surprised to see staff's approval of this one, just because we felt, this home really does not have a porch. It has a little stoop, and it's a contributing home. And this, the addition of the porch, we thought would be a major change to the facade. We also had concerns that the roof line would need to be cut into. So I guess we'd love to maybe think about other options to make the entryway safe for this homeowner. We know that in the photo from the survey, there was a railing that's not present now. I know the addition of a railing is part of the proposal. We were thinking maybe, there could just be an extension of the stoop cover. I don't know what the right answer is, but again, our concerns just really stem from, just the loss of contributing inventory. We're really concerned that these changes that are being made to these homes, would render these homes non-contributing in a future survey. And that's really where we're coming from. But again, definitely want to make this home safe for this homeowner, and just would love to brainstorm maybe some other options that are, a little bit more within the constraints of the guidelines. As from our perspective, the current proposal falls outside the historic guidelines. And I guess we kind of had a similar thought process to the last home. And I guess I would just like to better understand how much that potential impact weighs on the commission's minds as you deliberate these applications, thinking about, okay, could this, major change to a roof line, is this going to impact this home's contributing status in a future survey? Because that's just what the perspective we're looking at these applications from. Sorry, that was really rambly. But we do not support the application in its current form, I guess is the bottom line. Thank you for the time.
Great, thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to testify? Okay, nobody online either. All right, applicant, you have 5 minutes for rebuttal if you would like to do that. Okay, great. Does anyone have any last questions for staff or the applicant? Okay, then I will go ahead and close the public portion of the hearing and consider a motion or discussion.
Like to have discussion. So it is minimal traditional and they are practical, functional, really no nonsense in their design. It's minimal. It's in its name. Most of them had simple stoops like this one that we have here. You know, after the post-war, you didn't have a lot of times didn't have your grand porches that your previous revivals did. So thinking of ways that we could improve this project. We had that other project, was it last month where the porch extended, but it didn't have a cover over most of it. I'd be open to sort of that approach where we have either just the porch with like the current cover rehabilitated or recreated, and then with a really simple metal railing. I don't know if anybody would be up to that. I think that would kind of fit its style if they wanted to keep the porch that size. Otherwise, we can make the porch much smaller. I don't know.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think that I actually don't have a problem with this application at all, given the circumstances and the physical need in terms of a safety aspect for not only the homeowner, but I think any other individual that could potentially live there in the future. You know, my mom is a fall risk and has fallen many times on her front steps, very similar to this. And I know what that's like. And if that's something that we can avoid, we should be basic harm reduction. So I think it's a modest design based off of physical need and safety, and I don't have any problem approving the application as is. But I would be open to suggestions, as Commissioner Malloy mentioned, as long as there's adequate roof covering for the porch so that the homeowner doesn't have that additional fall risk when it's icy.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I want to kind of echo what Commissioner Montoto is saying. I know in the past we've approved expansion of covers of porches because of icy steps and elderly homeowners or whatever the circumstances have been to increase the safety of these homes. I see, you know, a front porch as a way to give the homeowner maybe more access to the community. I don't have a problem with this design. I think that it's relatively modest, but I also, if we can brainstorm something that would, like Commissioner Malloy is saying, keep it more within the guidelines, I'm flexible to that as well.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I guess I'd just like to comment that we're here for a certificate of appropriateness for the current project. We don't look at who's living in the home, who is going to live in the home in the future. We're here to uphold the guidelines and standards. So I would strongly recommend not having the current design approved as is. Like Ms. Henwood said, the North End right now is at a balancing act of contributing and non-contributing, and it's getting close. So this design as it is, it's going to probably tip it to non-contributing. It does not meet the standards. It is on the primary facade. It is a modest house. It's not the prettiest house that you've seen in the North End, but it's modest. It is historic. It is contributing. And I think there's a solution that doesn't involve compromising its integrity. So.
Madam Chair and Commissioner Malloy, I agree with what you're saying, but I also think that as a city, you know, times change. We
want to accommodate our citizens. We want to make an accessible neighborhood, a welcoming neighborhood for all different types of people. And so I think that we can come together for something, but I think adhering strictly to the guidelines, no matter what the context of the situation is, means that we don't need a commission. Like, it's just checking boxes at that point. And as the commission, we're the humans that are looking at the situation, examining the context. And so I think that it is important to consider what the context of the change is.
I would concur, Madam Chair and my fellow commissioners. And furthermore, every time we hear that it is a concern of how much contributing inventory we are losing, it is really what should be said is that the push for more resurveying needs to be the priority of the city. And so I would wholeheartedly concur with Commissioner Maroney on this one. And with that, I would like to make a motion.
Can I just like,
oh, please.
a little bit more discussion?
Oh, please. Yes.
I think maybe a happy medium would be to keep the porch the size it is, but maybe have the roof kind of mimic what was there before, but extend further so that it covers the part where you're walking up the stairs and into the house. Would that kind of be a good balance? So we're still having that outside space, but the actual physical architectural changes are more within line with what was there.
Yeah, I was trying to look back at what we did last month for the front porch, and I think we had it be thinner. So it wasn't like a seating, like a real seating area. This looks like a real seating area. So I wonder if there's a way either just to the coverage or make it thinner and do it that way.
Yeah, I think we can, I think Commissioner Maroney's sort of what I was saying, like you have, oops, sorry, you have your porch, but you could also have that cover over the stairs to prevent a fall risk. And I'd like to echo your concerns. Like, we come up every single month, we say the city needs to resurvey. So Josh, please tell the mayor, please tell the city council, please tell the new planning director, Tim Keene, we are serious. The city needs to resurvey. We're tired of saying it. We're frustrated. Sorry to put that on you, Josh, but we have to tell somebody.
Well, I would agree with that, but with trying to work with this and make it, I don't want to see this house become non-contributing, and I think because it's different than the last application because it's out in front of the house. It's actually the base of the house, while the other addition was a little bit back behind and up at the roof level. So it does, in my mind, change it quite a bit. And I would like to see an option where the roof just does extend out over the, the porch coming out and maybe over the stairs too, if that is important, but at least, come out as far as it's coming out, but be a lot smaller. So it's just centered over the door. I mean, my preference would be that you wouldn't have any more of the porch on there at all, because that style is I think just distracting from the actual very simple style of the house. But I probably could compromise if we just did the roof small and had a non-covered porch area off to the side would probably be acceptable, I would think.
I think if we did the non-porch off to the side, looks like they have xeriscaping, and you could easily landscape that into a little patio area that's not raised with chairs.
So you're saying no porch at all?
I'm saying they can extend the stoop, make it like slightly wider, and then have the covering come out further, but in the same style.
Yeah, I think if you had the smaller side of the porch mirrored on the other side, that's, it's probably 7 or 8 feet wide, and it coming out maybe, out that same distance out, you have a actually fairly sizable area out there in front of the door without, the side extension.
Can I look at what you're looking at?
Oh, yeah.
So you're saying,
If you just mirrored that over here, you'd have about an 8-foot wide porch that just comes out that far.
okay, but if a resident wanted to sit out there, is there room for a chair? Is there room for?
I'm guessing there's more than 3 feet from the door to the side of the railing there, if the door is 3 feet wide. So it's, yes, it looks like there is.
So are you saying if the porch were to cut them off of both the windows? kind of?
Yes.
So if it was equidistance from the windows,
Yeah.
that kind of gives you, it's probably 9 feet across. If
Yeah.
the door is 3 feet
I
wide.
was thinking, yeah, 8 or 9 feet, yeah. It's a lot smaller than it is, but it still would be, you know, it would be usable. And it would look more like what the porch looked like that was there. Or proportionately look more like it.
I think you should make a motion, Danielle.
I don't know if I can make a motion. I'll let somebody else make a motion, but those are just thoughts. If I could have them shrink it down a bit.
I'll make a motion. So I motion to approve DRH 22-00120 with the following conditions of approval: that the front porch be centered and be exceed a width of 9 feet, and that the current covering be replicated, and that a railing be installed.
Can I edit your motion? Sorry, to make it not 9 feet, because we don't know how wide that is, but to align with the exterior window or the interior window edges next to the door. I don't know how to.
Okay.
I don't know what that.
I'm going to revise my motion. I motion to approve DRH 22-00120 based on the following conditions of approval, that the new porch align with the inside of each of the windows, and that the front porch covering extend out over the steps and is the same design and same materials, and that a metal railing be installed.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Malloy and a second from Commissioner Otter. Could you please call the roll?
Otter.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Montoto.
Aye.
Weaver.
Aye.
Maroney.
Aye.
Kintai.
Aye.
All in favor, motion carries.
Okay, great. Thank you. That concludes our hearing for tonight.